it's over down in the Sunshine State. Michigan wins it by a dozen over the Hokies. The Fort Myers tip-off tournament down there in Florida, and in the first round in the Beach Division, Michigan wins the game against Virginia Tech by a final of 75-63. Michigan got off to they didn't play well in the first half, especially in the first half of the opening frame. Didn't shoot well, turning it over, things that we have seen from this team, but they made a little run and ended up being up at the half, and then they just kept pushing, and Virginia Tech didn't have any answers for U of M. And take a long view of it, if you watch this game and you were not that impressed from Michigan, either as a team or individually, and they still end up winning by 12 points, that's good. I mean, there's a lot of times you watch a team and say, yeah, I like what I see, and then they lose the game. So if you don't play well and win, and this is a team, every game you watch, they got a different set of announcers, and they're all talking about, well, they got so many transfers and everybody's new and the coaching staff, it's gonna take time to gel. You're probably, this is a half dozen games in, you're a little tired of hearing that, but they play much better, and that's been the case in every game this year. They have played, I'd say, much better in the second half. Tonight they played way better, and especially if you were taking a look at the first 6 games, you say, what do you think of Michigan? You say they play hard, they play fast, and they turn the ball over a lot. Those would be, I think, what most people would say. And they turned it over a lot in the first half today. They had 11 turnovers, and then they really improved on that number. They had 15 for the game, so only committed 4 in the second half. So they start playing like they did in the second half of the first half, and I think they'll be in business where they can, I'm not saying that they're going to be in the top half of the Big Ten, but that's the goal for this team. This team can get to the NCAA tournament. I feel like it's going to come down to the last 4 games, and maybe the last game, but the last 4 games, they're going to be a team that's going to have to, win some games. I don't think they're, going to be heading down the stretch thinking that they're comfortably in and playing for seeding or anything like that. This looks like a team that's going to have to fight for everything right down to the end to get into the tournament. That's the way I see things. Now, you might see it a little bit differently, and, that's okay. I'll give you a little rundown. We'll go over the box score and look ahead for the Maize and Blue, who will be back in action pretty quickly as they enjoy things. There's a picture of Namari Burnett down. I've never been to Fort Myers. It looks pretty nice down there on the beach with the lawn chair and everything else. But game number 6 on the year. This is called the Fort Myers tip-off, and Michigan was taking on Va.Tech. U of M was a double-digit favorite. In fact, a 10.5-point favorite almost all game long. I was thinking, the Hokies would have been a live dog. U of M was down 11. I was really thinking that in the first half, and they couldn't throw it in the Gulf of Mexico. Cheddar finally hit one and broke the seal and got them going a little bit, but for a while. And when you're not shooting well and you're hoisting a lot of shots, especially quick in the shot clock, and they're clanking, you don't look good. And Michigan didn't look good. Adding onto that, they turned it over a lot, but U of M managed to get up by 1 at the break. And then, they just expanded their lead to 7 with 9 to go. Then they got up by double figures with 6 left. And then it was Roddy Gale Jr. He drained a 3 with about 2.5 to go. And that would end up doing it for U of M, where they walk away with the victory in this one. Derek calling this one a gritty comeback victory. They could use gritty's a buzzword that has been attached to Detroit Lions for good reason. They are a gritty team, and you like it to put on other Detroit sports teams and a Michigan team. Michigan could use more grit. I think, well, specifically, I think Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf, specifically Golden. Wolf is a little weird because he's 7 feet and yet he plays like a 2 guard. But Vlad, he could use some grit. He almost seems like he's too nice. I don't need him. I don't. It'd be interesting to see what Dusty May and company had to say. I don't need him every time he makes a basket to be like screaming and but he looks like he's got a very pleasant look on his face all the time. I'd like to see somewhere he looks like he's lifting weights or, a little more intensity from him, and then being more of a terror down low, tough grit. I think a little bit of that is called for, and I'd like to see, especially when you get into conference play, from Vlad Golden. And DC says that Michigan would lose this game last year. I would agree with that. The Wolf of State Street being called Danny Dimes for his high level, high IQ passing. I'll buy that, especially since the original Danny Dimes has been benched by the New York Giants. And then Michigan Go Blue 1, 2, 3, 4 says very cleanly played second half. Yeah, the tale of two halves. MGB. Michigan, they looked wonderful. As I don't say it's bad, but not as good in the first half. Very good in the second half. What the heck, they look bad in the first half. Well, who's fooling who? We don't have to sugarcoat anything. They didn't look that good. Here's Roddy Gale Jr. He hit the dagger shot. They called it that on the broadcast. I agreed with him. 20 points, 4 boards, 4 assists for Roddy Gale, and he turned it over 3 times and had a block. He handles the ball an awful lot. Trey Donaldson had not scored for a long time. I don't think he had a goose egg earlier in the season. He had a goose egg, I think, in the first half of this one, and then came on and got his points in some bunches. And I was just checking. Yeah, he had a goose egg, 0 for 5 in the first half for Trey Donaldson. I think that he is the straw. You want to argue Gale Jr. and look at him, 20 points. I get that. But I think if this team is going to be the best version of themselves or reach whatever their maximize their talent and their ceiling and everything else, I think it's going to be Donaldson is going to be the guy that's going to be the leader when it's all said and done. We'll see on that. He's not, I don't think everybody's pick. You might be watching this and saying, what? It's Gale. And I understand where you're coming from. Namari Burnett had 9 points in this one. And there's Vlad Golden. Vlad got going a lot more in the second half. You didn't see much of Vlad in the first half. He also put up a goose egg at the break. And a lot of this, it's nice that you see some things like, wow, that's not going to do it in the conference season. And I would agree with you on that. But it's nice to have 2 of your starters and one that you could make a case both of these guys are the most important players on the team. I just made the case for Trey Donaldson. He didn't score in the first half. You certainly could make that case for the big man, Vlad Golden. And between the two of them, no points in the first half. And, Danny Wolf also with a goose egg. 3 of your starters kind of sends home the point on how Michigan played in the first half. But Danny Wolf ended up with 4 points, 11 boards, and 4 assists. Vlad, if I didn't give his stat line, 8 points, 4 boards, and 2 assists. And I still want to see more from Vlad. More just, as DC called, grit for this team. I want to see grit from Vlad down in the post. Will Cheddar sometimes has no points, and then he'll come in. He provided the spark for Michigan in the first half, ended up with 10 points and 3 boards, but Cheddar had 9 of his 10 points in the first half. He really kept Michigan in it and ended up was the big reason that they had the lead at the half. Reuben Jones with 8 points, 3 boards, and 3 assists. LJ Kason, the outstanding freshman, 7 points, 3 boards, and an assist. And Kason, he's just going to get better and better. He's the most physical. Gale's built and attacks the basket as well. He's more of an athletic blow by you. He'll dunk on you. He'll finish in traffic. All of those things for Roddy Gale. But Kason, he likes the contact. He's already built for it, and he's just a physical guard. And he had a sequence where he drove the lane, was able to get the layup. He had a spin move early in the first half. He looked really good. And then the sequence I'm talking about, he had a layup, and then the next possession shot a wing 3 and drained it. So you got to love him. He's going to, I think, just get better and better. He feels like he is going to be one of the keys. Boy, Cheddar and Kason, where can this team, can they lift them up where, they can be a top half team in the Big Ten? Sam Walters, he's someone who can really fill it up from downtown. He's a little off balance and a little rushed on his jumpers. Maybe his first one was a clean look, but his other two, he had a goose egg in this game and was 0 for 3 from downtown. But he can get them in bunches, and his shot's so pure, you want him shooting it, but just a little off balance on his Jays. Fat, and Justin Pippen got a little bit of work. Fat at the end of the first half was out there, and Pippen missed. Well, there was an offensive goaltend on Michigan. Pippen was going to get his second bucket of the year. It looked like it was going to fall in with the English, and somebody got a hold of it up on the rim, and it did not happen for Pippen. But if you look at Michigan overall, they did not shoot well in the first half, and then they end up for the game, let's see, 37% in the first half, 26% from downtown in the first half, and they also committed 11 turnovers. Michigan just with 4 turnovers in the second half, and that's how it adds up to 15. Their totals for the game, when it comes down to shooting, 25 of 62, that's 40%. From the field, 10 of 34 from downtown, that's 29%. And then they did a nice job at the charity stripe, going up there, knocking 15 of 20 down, which is 75%. So you like that? Like a good who doesn't like a good free throw shooting team? Makes you feel like you're a well-coached team, a good team, a fundamental team. If you're draining free throws, all those things seem like they're said about you. All right, one of the feedback says, Derek coming in saying, looks like at 2 halves, like I look at 2 halves of a woman. The top or first half can be nice and might be sloppy, but the bottom half is where the victory's at. All right, Derek, I wasn't expecting it to go there, but all right, let's do it. Let's go. All right, I'm with you. Not a bad analogy, right? There we are. Let's tell you about the Maize and Blue Review. Holiday time, Thanksgiving week. Michigan just got Bryce Underwood. Recruiting's taking off. Basketball's going after it. They got 3, Dusty May said a week or 2 ago, that they're not done in the 25 class. I'm saying all this to tell you that if you want the best coverage of Michigan, then I've got the deal for you right here, right in front of me. It's the Maize and Blue Review. $25 for the first year. Use promo code QBU25. That's QBU25. Go to michigan.rivals.com. This offer is valid for a limited time. You're looking for a gift for somebody for the holiday season. If that gift might be somebody like you, there it is for $25. Let's check out the upcoming schedule for Michigan, and that's brought to you by the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football and basketball at 2:00 Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And let's take a look at it coming up. It's going to be Michigan who will take on the South Carolina or Xavier winner coming up on Wednesday at either 6 or 8:30. Now I'm thinking 6 is going to be when Michigan plays, for the beach side. They'll take on the winner at 6 o'clock of South Carolina and Xavier. That game is set to be played tomorrow, Tuesday, the 26th. That's it. So that's where I'm at. I'll be with you on Wednesday at 2 o'clock and then back at 6 o'clock for that game against either the Gamecocks or the Xavier Minutemen. Xavier, seems like I should know what Xavier's X-Men. Xavier, I'm going to have to look it up now. What's Xavier's mascot nickname? Tigers? Musketeers. Should have had it. Feel bad about that I didn't. But here's one for AI. Thanks so much. Okay, let's, DC, let's win the tournament. I'm with you on that. You're down there, might as well win it. Why not? Michigan does move to 5-1 on the year, so that's good. Virginia Tech evens up their record at 3-3. Everybody have yourself a great Monday, kicking off a short week. I like it. People, my wife is really happy. She's getting, Thursday and Friday off. She's very excited about that. And we all know, what Thanksgiving's all about. So it's here. The holidays we're into it, and I'm feeling very festive. So Michigan starts things off on the right foot. Thanks so much for watching. A reminder, we're here after every Michigan football and basketball game. Everybody take care. Once again, that final for you, Michigan wins it by 75-63. So long, everybody. Have a good night.